Hello. For those of you new here, welcome. My name is Katie and I am a unique independent presenter. I want to share with you today how to create this gorgeous blue eyeshadow look. So let's get started on using the Moodstruck Addiction Shadow Palette number 4 and this gorgeous blue neutral kind of eye look that we're going to have going on here. Now, one of my tips is to always make sure that you use an eye primer, and I'll show you the video here where I look at my hair right here. Do you see this? Where I already put on my eye primer. Ideally, you want to let that set for about 5 minutes, and what that is going to do, it's going to allow those pigments to really pop. It's going to hold them in place all day long, and it's going to prevent them from creasing. So you can see you just need a tiny amount, rub that all over your eyelids, let it set for about 5 minutes, and then you can go in with your eye makeup. So the first color that we're going to use here is this color called Cheerful, and I'm going to be using my fluffy crease brush. I absolutely love this brush. It's kind of a mixture of our crease brush and our blending brush, and I'm just going to take that pigment and put that in the outer corner and right above my lid. I'm going to take it right above to my pupil there or so, and I'm going to start out with a little bit of product, and then as I want to kind of build that color on a little bit more, I will just add a little bit at a time until I get the level of depth with that color that I want. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to put a little bit on the other side to kind of get that side started. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit more. I like to always tap off the excess. The nice thing I have found with the unique pigments, whether it's the pressed shadows or these shadow palettes, is that there's typically not a lot of fallout. So if you like to do your foundation first, you can definitely do that with these pigments. You're not going to get it falling all over your face. I have used some other brands of pigments where they literally just fall all underneath your face and you have to do a lot of cleanup, okay? So now that I kind of have started that, I'm going to go in, I'm going to add a little bit more color and depth to the lid now. And again, just focusing it in that outer corner and bringing it up. The way I like to bring it up a little bit more so that way when my eye is open, you can still see that color. I'm not a makeup artist, you all, so this is kind of just how I do it whenever I'm applying those pigments. And I like to kind of just step back and look and say, okay, does this look even? Yeah, it looks good. Then what I like to do is I like to take my blending brush and then just kind of blend out that top line there, really just to make sure there's no harsh lines. You want it to just be really kind of a natural blend. So I just buff that all out. Get rid of all those harsh lines. What I like to say is, when in doubt, blend it out. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cream shadow brush and apply this Honest color all over the lid. Now, I like to use a synthetic brush when I'm using a pigment that has a little bit of shimmer to it. I feel like it just allows that shimmer to pop a lot more. And before I got started, this brush was a little bit dirty. So I used my brush cleaner, and I'll show you a video of this. A lot of times I can just wipe my brush off in between, and I did that, but I noticed that there was still some pigment, especially because it was a very different color pigment. So what I did is I just sprayed a couple spritzes of my brush cleaner, and it really got my brush in amazing condition. It makes your brushes super soft, and it's a great way to clean your brushes in between washes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of that Honest onto my side of the cream shadow brush there, and I'm just going to pull that color to meet where I put that darker blue Cheerful. Doesn't that look lovely? It's coming together really, really nicely, okay? Now I'm going to go in on the other side, again, just putting that a little bit onto the side of that cream shadow brush, and then just pulling it out to meet where that darker blue color is. Just like that. Now, one thing that is really cool about this palette, it's very versatile. So I actually use these darker, not darker, but these brown colors, Arrogant and Brave, kind of mix them together and used it to fill in my brows. So again, the really cool thing about a lot of the different shadow palettes that unique offers is that you can use them for different things, not just eyeshadows, but for brows and contouring and all that good stuff. So again, check out the video I did of that here, and I used my brow artist brush. I like to just fill in my brows right here in the meaty part. That's where I feel like they're the most sparse. And when you do that, it helps to really frame your face and bring the attention to your eyes. It gives you a more youthful appearance. Okay, so now that we have put that on our lids, we're going to go in with Triumphant, this dark navy blue color. And we're just going to add a little bit more depth to the outer corner and right along the crease there. Again, to just build upon that initial shadow of Cheerful that we used. And because we blended it out, you can see that that color is building really, really nicely on top of that initial pigment. Tapping off the excess, not a lot of fallout again, and just taking that color and blending it right along top of where we put that initial pigment. And again, taking my blending brush and blending out along the top there to make sure I don't have any harsh lines. One of the other things that you can do too, I have like a little hair, do you see that? From the brush, there we go, got it, is if you want to cut down on the amount of just like the sharp line there that you can see between those two pigments, you could just take a little bit more of that Honest onto your brush and kind of blend that out a little bit. So again, you can see that that just softens it so you don't have that cut line. You just are softening the edge there, making that blend really, really nicely. Okay, and the last thing I like to do is I like to take this color here called Tender. You can see it's one of my favorite colors to use. I've used quite a bit of that. I'm just going to put a little bit of that onto the end of my deluxe brush, and I'm going to take that along the brow bone to kind of help lift, give you an eye lift, and just bring a little bit of shimmer there. It's really, really nice. And again, it lifts the eye, giving you a more youthful appearance. And then the other thing I like to do is I like to put a little bit of that into the inner corner here. That, when you do that, it just really helps to kind of brighten up the eye, giving you a more awake appearance. That I like to wrap up my eye makeup look is to throw on a little bit of mascara. My go-to right now is my Moodstruck Epic Mascara. I just love it because it curls my lashes, gives it some length, and really separates them so you can see every single one of those lashes. Things I wanted to pop on here really quick and say before I wrap things up is that the Moodstruck Addiction Shadow Palette number 4 is the current palette that comes in our unique presenter kit. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I put a link down in the description, or you can just say kit in the comments and I can message you to answer any questions that you may have. That is it. So if you have any questions about the products that I used in this video, please don't